Sharp Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com, offer of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about something that I wish I'd known before I left home over 23 years ago. And, you know, like most of the people that you're going to encounter in life, just across the board, are what I call parasites. You know, and I wanted to talk about parasite relationships. And see, most of the people, I say at least 50% of the people that you run into on some level in certain environments they're like parasites. They're just basically at best kind of just drifting through life, trying to survive, trying to suck whatever they can get out of you, just suck the blood out of you, basically. And, you know, and if what you're doing has to be in line with what they want or what they want to do. And these people are basically incompetent. So that's why I call them parasites. And the worst part about it, a lot of these people are everywhere. And they're in power positions. A lot of them are politicians, cops, judges, teachers. These people are everywhere. Doctors, you know, but they're in power positions. That's what's important, you know. And a lot of these people, you know, they create laws and public policies, and they know how to finesse their way into certain positions. They've mastered that, you know, but they don't really have no foundation of what they do, though. The only reason they've been able to kind of finesse their way and survive is because they have people that back them up. They have people that can basically vouch for them, co-sign for them, and if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't be in the positions that they're in. And even on a social level, as far as being in relationships, you have a lot of women, men and women, but for this video, I'm gonna talk about women because I'm in the women. So I'm gonna talk about women for this illustration. You have women that come in, right? You know, they might be into fashion, they dress well, they show a little cleavage, but it's in a very classy way. You know, they have the nice car, they probably live well, but you probably never seen where they live at, you know, because a lot of times these people are married, but they don't act like they're married. So when you see them coming towards you, you're thinking they got it all together. They dress well, they look well, their hair done from head to toe. I mean, she's the bomb. Nice shoes, nice skin, nice hair. Everything's nice about her. But that's just a facade in most cases. And the reason why she kind of put on that facade, she knows how to dress, she knows what to say, she knows how to present herself, because she knows that's what guys like. And she knows this, and she's learned this more than likely probably from her mom, you know. But after, you know, you get to know her, you know, you're gonna find out that she has an agenda in most cases. And it could be anything. It could be sex, it could be she just likes being around you, she likes your energy, she wants to be exposed to different people. Maybe you might be a mover and a shaker, so she might say, hey, I think if I stick around this guy long enough, maybe something will come out of it, you know. So it could be a lot of different reasons why she's around you. But as time goes on, you're gonna figure out that she's not what she claims to be. You know, not what she claims to be at all. She really doesn't have it together the way she presents herself to be. And I've met a lot of women that were like this. A lot of women that are like this. As a matter of fact, I'm still connected to 2 of them today. And the only reason why that is because I called them out on the bullshit. And we actually sat down and talked about it. And we just put everything, they just put everything on the table and basically verified what I already knew. Because I kind of figured it out on my own. And I was like, okay, you know, that's cool, you know, but just don't expect me to be one of those type of guys. Because what you have to understand is a lot of these women that are parasites, they have satellites of guys around them. They have a lot of guys in their Rolodex that they can reach out and call at any given time. And these guys are willing to do almost anything for them, you know, and they trick off with a lot of these guys. You know, this is what I've learned over the years. So, but see, I was always the guy that they seem to like me for whatever reason. You know, it's kind of weird. You know, they seem to like me. When I came around, they roll out the red carpet for me. You know, I didn't have to do anything extra. All I had to do is show up and be me. But those other guys, you know, they got to take her out to dinner. They got to, you know, might have to pay a bill or 2. Or they got to do some stuff that I just don't want to do. You know, so that's what I've seen. That's been my experience over years. Well, a lot of women that are parasites, the ones that I called them out on the bullshit. And then you have the rest of the parasites, you know, they come in, get what they want and just leave. You know, and if they can't get what they want, they still gonna leave. Because a lot of times they'll say, well, you know too much. You talk too much. You're that type of guy. You know, it's that mentality. You know, you know too much. You know, and then you have the mentality of some parasites is, this is supposed to happen to people like you. I'm supposed to take advantage of you. You know, you're supposed to get mistreated by me because on some level, I'm better than you. So it's that mentality out here too. It's like, the mentality is like, you know, you have some people that will destroy relationships, destroy the environments that people live in, directly or indirectly, and turn around and blame the whole damn thing on them. This mentality exists out here. They'll say, well, how did you think that those neighborhoods and the work environment got this way? They'll say, well, it's supposed to be that way. I don't know. I wasn't in charge. The person that's in charge, they have to be responsible for that. So then you say, well, it wasn't always like that until you showed up, though. It's like, well, maybe those people lack intelligence. You know, it's that mentality. You know, they'll cause the situation. They'll destroy the environments with poison. The water is poison. The food is toxic. the energy's toxic, then turn around and be like, it's all their fault. It's that mentality, you know. And this mentality it's worldwide, you know, because you have a group of people in every society that feed off the other groups of people. So one group has to win, one group has to lose in order for the other group to win. It's that mentality, you know. So they'll, you know, basically pass laws and public policies to make sure that the majority of the other groups of people are not going to be able to come up where we're at. So it's that mentality that exists, and it's worldwide too. And you know, there's a caste system in place in a lot of these places, and there's laws and public policies, and a lot of these other places, you know, these corporations control the whole entire economic system in a lot of these places, and they control the resources and everything, and all that filters down to the masses, and all that propaganda that filters down into the masses, and it brainwashes people to act and behave in a certain type of way, and that's based on the environment and the education, and you know, and how people's perception is being shaped, you know. So the argument some people would make is, well, what about my girlfriend? Is she a parasite? She can't be a parasite, because I mean, we had sex. And what about the other girls? If the girls had sex with me, how can she be a parasite? Well, that's not true either. It doesn't really matter, because sex can be used for good and bad. Sex can be used as a weapon. Sex is very powerful, and people have sex for different reasons. So it doesn't really matter. And plus, what I've found over the past 25 years is, whenever you have relations or sex with, especially with other groups of women from other nationalities, they can be the biggest parasites, because they know that you don't know that much about their culture and where they're from. And even if you do speak the language, you're not going to know as much as they know. So they're basically betting on your lack of knowledge and information about who they are and where they came from, so they can manipulate you and take advantage of you and use the situation to their advantage with whatever intent they had for you in the first place. So sex, in reality, in most situations, between most people, doesn't really mean anything, because when most people, someone can lay down with you in the bed, have sex with you, and get up and still know who they are. They won't be confused about anything, because they knew why they wanted to have sex with you. Because that was just fun for the most part. It wasn't not anything serious at all. It wasn't like, they might not even care for you, might not care nothing about you. They just wanted some good sex. They just wanted to have an orgasm because they couldn't get it from their husband or their boyfriend, and they wanted to find somebody to make that happen, and you just got lucky. That's all. So, you know, that's just what it is, really. But now you can finesse these relationships. It can become more than sex sometimes, but that's going to depend on your skill set. But if you're new, like I was in my early 20s, I got taken advantage of a couple times by women. I knew they didn't have any good intentions. I knew they just wanted sex. But being young, and I just wanted to have a good time, in certain situations, I knew what was going on, but I said, hey, I'm going to go along with it anyway because I want to have a good time. And whatever comes out of it, it's cool. I'll just deal with it. But as I got older, I learned how to finesse certain relationships. I learned how to, I can kind of dictate where it's going to go, how I want it to go. Now, she might come in and she might make me an offer. She might say, hey, you know, I was thinking this, thinking that. But I'm like, okay, you know, then I'll have to make up the decision and dictate how I want it to go based on what she says to me. So you have, but that takes a certain skill set, and that takes life experience along with your people skills. And there's a lot of psychology behind this as well. And I don't really know if you can teach anyone this. I don't know if I can teach anybody how to finesse certain relationships. I think that's something that every guy kind of has to learn on his own through trial and error. I think it's not so much trial and error, but it's gonna take a little time, because what happens is everything doesn't work for every guy. It's like every word, every move, every skill set you learn, or every move might not get the same result versus another guy. So that's just what it is. So everything doesn't work for every guy the same. And it's going to depend on you, who you are, and who you're talking to. And there's a lot of psychology behind it as well. But, but at the end of the day, you really have to take your time and really get to know people. And see, one of the first signs that you're probably dealing with a parasite is they tend to want to move fast. They tend to want to move fast. Everything is fast pace. So that's a red flag right there. And everything is, the way they present themselves is they're perfect. Everything is, they sharp dressers. They sharp, man. From head to toe. Shoes, hair, makeup, if she wear them. I'm talking everything. So that's how they present themselves, like they're perfect, almost flawless. And once you get to know them, you realize that she's in debt and she's barely making it. She might have a nice car, you might have a nice place to live, but she's in debt, barely making it. Now and then the funny thing is, she might have investments. She might have 2 cars, 2 houses. She might have, on the surface level, it might look good. That's the thing. But she's struggling. She'll present herself like she's perfect and everything. And she does that to suck you in, because she knows that's what guys want to see. And if you're a new guy coming into her web, she's really trying to feel you out. Because a lot of times, a lot of these women, they don't want to ask you directly to do something. they really want you to volunteer. So it's like they'll hang around you for a while, but as time go on, if you don't volunteer to do something, pay something, or volunteer to do whatever they want you to do, because you're supposed to take the initiative. If you don't volunteer to do something after a long period of time, they're just gonna let you go. Now, what this is the funny thing: if she likes you, if she's lusting after you, she'll call you every once in a while. She'll want to get with you and see you every once in a while, because she needs your energy, because she doesn't like the rest of those guys. She doesn't like being around the rest of those guys. She really likes being around you. That's why every once in a while she has to call you, or she has to want to be around you, and she's more than likely she's going to want to have sex with you every once in a while, because she needs your masculine energy, because she look at you like you're her joy. You know, the rest of those guys, they're just something that I had to do. You know, and I remember a old guy told me one time, he said, women fuck with the guys that they want to, and then some women fuck with the guys because they had to. I had an older guy tell me that one time. I thought that was hilarious, you know. But it made sense now that I think about it, you know. So he said, just keep that in mind as you get older. Then he said, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's basically how a lot of these women and people operate, you know. And age don't have anything to do with this. Nationality don't have nothing to do with this. This is just across the board. And there's some groups of women that are better than others, of course, you know. The groups of women that are associated with the groups of people that are in power positions, they tend to be much better manipulators. So in other words, the Caucasian women tend to be better manipulators than the other groups of women, if that makes sense. That's been my experience. But maybe you had a different experience, or maybe you didn't have no experience at all. But what I can tell you is most people, most women that you meet, at best are going to be incompetent. They're not going to really have no good intentions at all meeting you. And like I say, you can finesse these relationships and change it and turn it into something, or I should say dictate it into something that you would like to your advantage. But in most cases, most people are just parasites, man. It is what it is. So hey, if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel. So share this video. Check out my books, Love Can't Wait, on Amazon.com. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.